time to say goodbye to those pants that don't fit you anymore. I know. It's okay. Because here's the reality. You can't have it all. Essentialists know that life is about trade-offs. Ignoring the reality of trade-offs can create huge problems, like when you commit to everything but disappoint everyone. The book has 5 tips on how to eliminate, but here are 2. The first tip is to clarify your purpose. Lewis Carroll once said, "If you don't know where you're going, any road will take you there." So grab a pen and paper and ask yourself, what do you want the purpose of your life to be? Being clear about what you want will clarify what you need to eliminate. This applies to organizations as well. Vague mission statements make it difficult for management to make decisions when faced with a crisis. But when mission statements are clear, they help clarify how to act in times of trouble. An example from the book is when Johnson & Johnson faced a cyanide scandal in 1982. 7 people died after taking Tylenol, which they had a 37% ownership of. This was a huge problem because at the time, that was their most profitable product. This obviously created a crisis. But should they prioritize the customers, the shareholders, or consoling the families? The answer came from a statement written in 1943 by their then chairman, Robert Wood Johnson. It read that customers were first and shareholders second. So Johnson & Johnson recalled all the Tylenol, causing them to lose an estimated $100 million. Now, you might not be facing a $100 million problem, God I hope not, but you might have to choose between working on a Saturday or spending time with your family. If you are clear on your purpose, you'll know what to eliminate when faced with those choices. That brings us to our other tip of elimination. Dare to say no. This is for my people pleasers out there. I see you. I'm with you. We're going through this together. So let's look at a few ways to do this. Think of no as your friend. As we talked about earlier, every yes is a no. When you say yes to a job opportunity, you say no to anything else you could have done in that time. So embrace no, because whether you mean to or not, you are with that friend all the time. Second, when you say no, you're rejecting the decision, not the person. Whoever is asking you to do something is like a merchant asking you to exchange goods for your time. Saying no is not you rejecting the merchant, but the goods. Third, saying no doesn't have to use the actual word no. The book shares 25 different ways of saying no, but here are 4. Buy time. The next time someone asks you to do something, count to 3 before delivering your verdict, or make it a practice to say, "Let me think about it and I'll get back to you." Second, ask the person giving you more to do to prioritize for you. For example, if you're dealing with a boss who keeps giving you more work, instead of saying yes, ask them which of the other projects they gave you should deprioritize. This makes them choose the no for you, or see how overworked you are. Third, offer something else. For example, maybe you can't drive your friends somewhere, but they can borrow the car. This gives you a way to show support while still saying no. Finally, use other language. You could say, "I'm flattered you thought of me, but unfortunately I don't have the bandwidth." Or, "I would love to, but I'm overcommitted." I use that one a lot. Use your space fully. One way to set yourself up for success is to create a specific place where you only go to practice deep work. It can be anywhere, but it should be a place where you won't get distracted by other people or by things inside the space. Compartmentalizing it like this cements the practice routine better, because over time your brain associates the practice space with being in a state of deep focus. Another important tip is to be mindful of how you're using social media. I hinted at this earlier, but social media and deep work aren't exactly friends. In fact, social media can be the most dangerous form of shallow work because it is so deliciously distracting. Try to be practical about how you use it by analyzing how it does or doesn't benefit you. Here are a couple of ways to do this. Number 1, evaluate your goals and your tools. First, make a list of goals you want to pursue. Then write down a list of good tools. These are the habits that most support the goals you listed. By observing whether social media shows up on the good tools list, you can see if the energy you invest in it is the same energy you get back. If it's not on the list, it's probably a bad tool for you, and you should use it less. Number 2, experiment with quitting. If you're not sure how a social media platform is affecting you, take a break for 30 days. If you feel better without it, then you know it's not a tool that benefits you. The final tip is to communicate as efficiently as possible. We lose focus when we aren't clear and direct, dragging out the time it takes to get things done with others. For example, email in particular can be a major time suck and distraction for any professional. So, when you write emails, communicate all essential information clearly and directly. Don't send an email that says, "I'd like to meet with you. When are you free?" Send an email that says, "I'd like to meet with you. Here are the times I'm available. Let me know which one is best or an alternative date that works better for you." Using these tips will help you carve out the physical, mental, and emotional space to focus on being your most productive self. If you want things to change, you can't just wait around for something to happen. If you do, you'll never be independent and you'll never be in control. That sounds obvious, and you're probably already doing it on some level. But the key, Covey says, is to notice when a problem can be solved and when it can't. Sometimes we get so stuck on an unsolvable problem that we never get moving. If you really can't solve something, don't waste your time and energy worrying about it. Just accept it and move on. Covey makes another big point here. How you feel isn't a result of your circumstances. It's a result of your perspective. You can be in traffic without feeling stressed. You can be poor without being unhappy. And you can say, "What are my options?" instead of, "There's nothing I can do." A few months ago, I was commuting an hour each way to my job. At first, the commute was really frustrating. I kept framing the drive as a waste of my time, and that would really stress me out. This put me in a bad mood every time I had to drive somewhere. Over time though, I decided to shift my perspective to something more positive. I framed it as a time for learning. I would listen to language learning podcasts or NPR's news reports. This helped me feel like I was claiming my time back. I felt the stress leave my body each time I reminded myself to shift my perspective. So, be proactive. Focus on what you can do and do it. Don't just sit around and let things happen to you. Even if things look bad, you're still in control. Understanding that goes a long way towards making us more effective. In Eat That Frog, Tracy explains that lists have all kinds of benefits. They make sure you don't forget your goals, plans, and responsibilities. As you check things off, they show you how much you're getting done and give you confidence that you're on top of things. According to Tracy, working from a list saves you about 25% of your time. In an 8-hour workday, that's a whole 2 hours. Now, that's all well and good, but what if you're not already a list maker? What kind of list are you supposed to make? And what do you even put on it? Well, here are the 4 lists the man who does it all uses to keep his life in order. If you've ever kept a bullet journal, these should sound pretty familiar. First, Tracy keeps a master list. It's a list of everything you want to do at some point in your life. Whenever you think of a new idea, task, interest, whatever, add it to the master list. This list keeps you from forgetting your bigger goals and dreams, like that thing you always wanted to do, or the one you never seem to get around to. Yeah, that one. Put it on the master list. Later, I'll tell you how to actually get it done. Second, Tracy keeps a monthly list. Near the end of every month, make a list of everything you need or want to do in the following month. Write down everything that needs doing and when, and move things from the master list to the monthly list so they can actually happen. The third list Tracy keeps is a weekly list. You might already have one of these. Toward the end of each week, plan the next week by pulling from your monthly list. Add to it as things come up: events, tasks, appointments, and so on. And finally, the daily list. Every night before you go to bed, plan your upcoming day. Include any leftovers you didn't get around to, and pull from your weekly list. I personally have been keeping a daily list for the last 4 years. For some reason, I always look forward to planning my next day before I go to bed. I think it's because I know I'm setting myself up for success, and because I don't go to bed questioning what I need to accomplish tomorrow. Once you've got your list, Tracy says you should check off each task as you complete it. According to him, the human brain loves getting things done. You'll get a happy little boost of confidence and motivation every time you see your progress. And you'll build the momentum you need to keep at it. For the last 6 months or so, I've been using an app called To Do for my daily list. It's worked better than any physical planner I've ever owned, genuinely. This is not sponsored. If you don't complete a task, it automatically pushes it to the next day. You can also create recurring tasks, like doing your laundry every Friday. Then every week it'll pop up and you won't forget about doing it. Speaking of the devil, I have to finish my laundry after this video. Although the app is mostly designed for daily to-dos, you could add other lists to accommodate for Tracy's weekly, monthly, and master list. I may need to do that for myself after finishing this video. Okay, Let's say you've got your 4 lists and your life is looking a lot more purposeful. How do you get your big dreams and goals off your master list and onto your daily one? You know, stuff like building that new deck, finding true love, or learning how to cook. How do you listify that? Here goes. To make goals real, you have to define them, and that means writing them down. Because a goal that's not on paper is nothing but vapor. As soon as you forget it, it's gone. The key to defining your goals is to be really specific. Tracy says that people with vague goals lack motivation because they aren't sure what they're trying to achieve. For example, let's say you write down, I want to learn to cook. Do you see how that's not specific enough to be motivating? This goal doesn't tell you anything about where to get started. Instead, try this. My goal is to cook dinner for my family at the end of the month. Suddenly, you've got visible goalposts, and you're already thinking about what needs to get done. That means we can move on. Now list the steps for achieving your goal and set deadlines for each step. You'll need to find a recipe, buy ingredients, and practice cooking. And of course, you'll need to actually cook the meal in the end. Now, maybe that's not enough to get you started. Maybe you don't know where to find a recipe or how to poach an egg. So you gotta add some steps. You set deadlines for researching on YouTube, asking your mom where to shop, and getting a friend to help. All of a sudden, you've got clear, actionable goalposts. Your dream of learning to cook isn't just a note on your master list anymore. So remember, to get from dream to reality, set a really specific goal. List the steps you need to take and set deadlines for each one. Add those deadlines to your monthly, weekly, and daily lists, and take each day as it comes. Extraordinary results don't come without extraordinary effort. You need to not only put in the time, but also put that time on your calendar and keep the appointment. Blocking time off allows you to focus on your one thing and treat that time as sacred. There are 4 steps to effective time blocking: personal, priority, planning, protection. Keller recommends beginning each year by planning your time off. He argues you'll be more productive when you manage your work time around your downtime. That sounds valid. I would buy that. Let's not forget the importance of recharging after all this focusing and achieving. Right, Allie? Yeah, good job. Nice job recharging. Proud of her. Next, design your days around your one thing. It's your number 1 priority and makes your most important appointment with yourself. Keller suggests blocking off a minimum of 4 hours per day to focus on your one thing. And if you can work on it as early as possible, all the better. If 4 hours sounds like a lot, it's because it is. But Keller didn't pull that number out of a hat. He based it on the 10,000 hour rule, the time it takes to become successful in a complex skill or subject. If you worked on your one thing for 250 days of the year, then in 10 years' time, you would have logged 10,000 hours, and you would have mastered whatever you'd hoped to accomplish. Hopefully. For a deeper dive into the 10,000 hour rule, check out Shortform's video on Outliers by Malcolm Gladwell. Depending on your goal though, you might not need to devote so much time. Blocking off 4 hours a day to become a vegetarian doesn't seem necessary. But if I become a vegetarian and then become passionate about it, I might want to spend more time making it a bigger part of my life. I might want to create a blog to share my journey with others, grow a garden to source my own fruits and vegetables, or start a lifestyle brand. These could easily take up 4 hours a day. Near the end of the year, block out planning time to assess where you are and where you'd like to be for the upcoming year. Also, block an hour each week to review your annual, monthly, and weekly goals. None of the other steps matter if you don't protect your time blocks. Remember, these are your most important appointments. Keeping them is crucial to your success. So find a place where you won't be interrupted and hide your phone. How well you block out time for your one thing and connect your today to all of your tomorrows determines your level of success. Stick to these 2 techniques and you'll be surprised at what you can do in any area of your life.